What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another Beat Howard Bender draft live stream. I am Howard Bender. You can follow me on the social medias at RotoBuzzGuy, and we appreciate you guys tuning in here and watching. Whether you're watching it over on X, maybe you're watching it here on YouTube. If you're watching it here on YouTube, do me a favor. Come on over here to the RealTime Fantasy Sports YouTube page. Give a like. Right? Maybe even subscribe to the channel here. Never miss a show. I know Jeff Power and I are going to be doing a number of new shows together in the coming season. As you guys know, the Beat Howard Bender Best Ball Tournament, it's a $20 entry, $10,000 grand prize. And we're already underway here in the draft. So rather than looking at my gorgeous mug here on the show, let me pull up the draft board just so that we can say hi and make our picks and everything, and try to do it in a timely fashion here. And I'm going to try to keep pace with the comments coming in. I'm going to look to the chats and all that fun stuff there. So I want to make sure that I say hi to everybody who's in there. A lot of familiar faces. Very happy to see drafting against Fozzie again. Jeremy Brock, he's in the 9-hole. Jan Bolton, who's been in these in a couple of these drafts with me before. Krish, there's another one. So I think Timmy Football is another one who I've done some drafts with. So I'm going to try and moderately keep you entertained, talk a little bit of strategy and all the other fun stuff that goes with it. And I'm going to start by making my first pick here. 4th overall. If you caught the show last time with Jeff Power, we were doing the Fantasy Life Championship. Which is a $300 entry, $500,000 grand prize. First and foremost here, if you guys are new to RT Sports or haven't been on RT Sports before and you're thinking about dipping your toe into some of these big tournament pools, this is a fantastic spot to do it. And I can hook you up with a little bit of a promo code. If you sign up, if you go to rtsports.com/Bender, BENDER, then your first deposit, you'll get a 50% match up to $500. So if you end up putting in some money, you'll be able to do a bunch of these $20 best balls. Maybe you get a little deposit match in there, and that way all of a sudden you get some Fantasy Life ones. There are a ton of different contests over at rtsports.com that I absolutely love and will happily recommend them to anybody out there. If you guys are if you haven't tried out RT Sports before, go to rtsports.com. Like I said, sign up at rtsports.com/Bender and use the promo code Bender to get that deposit match. But as far as if you just go to rtsports.com, you go to the football tab and you just click on, money leagues. That'll give you the list and the array of all the different contests that they have over here. And, absolutely spectacular. And I've already entered a bunch of them here, right? The Fantasy Life Championship. I do my season-long leagues with All-American Football. The Best Ball Championship, the Beat Howard Bender one, that's here. The Draft Masters Best Ball Contest, those are great. The Eliminators, the Fantasy Face-Off, and, of course, my new favorite of all time is the King of the Mountain, $25,000 grand prize. So, again, check everything out over at RTSports.com. Now, I've done a couple of these best ball drafts, and listen, it was so funny. I was going through my shares earlier tonight on the Fantasy Alarm Show on Sirius XM, and just looking at the players who I have the most shares of, because I've done, I don't know, between all the drafts that I've done here right now, it's not a huge number. I mean, maybe it is. It's July 2nd, but I've been 33 different drafts right now. And I'm starting to see what my shares are looking like and who I'm going after, different strategies that I'm employing. I got to tell you right now, I'm going to start honing in on some more of my favorites in the earlier rounds, because what's going on now is I see my exposure is very well spread out among a lot of the top players. But now it's time to start zeroing in as we're getting ready for training camp. Take the favorite guys, take the values, increase my exposure on those guys, because I will eventually start to back off from them as we go through, as the summer goes on and I do more drafts. I will back off of my favorite, but right now, if my favorites are coming in at value, or maybe I have to reach a little bit, that I'm going to do. For example, Ashton Genty here in the fourth spot. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown and Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith-Njigba. I love Ashton Genty this year. I love Clint Kubiak. I love Rick Dennison. We've talked about that over and over again. But now what I want to do is I want to build with some of my favorite guys. And if I don't have shares of them or enough shares of them, then I'm going to want to attack it a little bit early. I'm also going to start looking at what kind of a strategy do I want to employ, at least for this best ball contest. I know when we sit and we talk things like, hero RB or zero RB, we're really kind of looking at our season-long leagues in that fashion. My typical MO for best ball drafts has always been running backs early, play wide receiver roulette. It works for me. It has worked for me. And so I'm going to probably do that here tonight as we go through it, while increasing my exposure on guys who I don't seem to have a lot of right now. Ashton Genty, I'm okay on, because even when I'm drafting in the later rounds, I'll look to him. But here's a guy who I don't have a lot of exposure to, who I really do like a lot, Kenneth Walker. Do I have some minor concerns that the Kansas City offensive line isn't really going to be what it once was? It's possible. But overall, I love this move for Kenneth Walker. Andy Reid running backs, tried and true, right? We've gone through it over the years. We can sit there and talk about Priest Holmes and Jamal Charles, and we can talk about what an Andy Reid running back has done for, fantasy purposes. He really hasn't had a guy whom he feels comfortable with giving the job to all by himself. We've tried, right? But how many times have we end up seeing guys like Damian Williams get mixed in, or, even Isaiah Pacheco was just, he wasn't getting anything because Kareem Hunt was coming into play. So it's been a while since I think Andy Reid's had like the true bell cow that he can really hone in on. And I think Walker's going to work well, even if, especially with Eric Bieniemy now in there back as the running back coach or the offensive coordinator. I'm much more happy with him than I ever was with Matt Nagy. So just want to throw that out there. Let me go around the room here. Let's see who's making some comments here. Oh, I got Timmy Football in here. What are we drinking the Kool-Aid? He says, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Just kidding. It depends on what the Kool-Aid is. I love a cheat sheet. I love a good glass of Kool-Aid. I really do. Right? Get the Kool-Aid mustache. I'm just so buying in so heavily on a player that I'm just like, get that Kool-Aid mustache. That's not happening here. I am not cheat sheet drafting in this one here. I'm just kind of, like I said, I'm taking more of my favorite players, at their draft spots. I am, I'm hoping to just kind of lock down my team. But again, I want to try and increase some exposure and help out. Let's see. Jeremy, Fozzie says he loves the Bender drafts. And then I see a why, Jeremy. Why, Jeremy? I hope that wasn't why would he love these drafts? Because these drafts are fun. We're having a good time. Yes, we're shooting for the big prize. We definitely want it, right? Joe Jacoby, not in this draft, took down the prize last year. I want to be that guy. What's to love? That's what you're saying. What's to love? That almost like hurts my feelings there. Because these drafts are a ton of fun. I don't know, who is that? Who is that? That DT 2745. Are you in this draft? DT, talk to me here. Are you in this draft? I want to know which team you are. I don't care if you like me. I just like the use of these drafts. If you don't like me, that's cool. Doesn't bother me. You're still in here. You might be. LOL. Okay, we're going to have to wait and see. Reveal yourself, my friend. Reveal yourself. Otherwise, I'm just going to give you a little chicken moniker over there. I'm going to have to make my next pick here because Beat Me is going to grab who off of the board. So A.J. Brown. I was kind of eyeballing A.J. Brown. I definitely like him. I was thinking about the possibility of just staying at the running back spot here, but some guys here who I absolutely love and who I think just present a fantastic value. If you're going to give me Nico Collins here in the third round, I'm going to take him. I'm going to take him every time. I love Nico Collins. I'm actually bullish on CJ Stroud. Funny enough, that's one of the QBs who I have more exposure to. I mean, I have broad exposure at the quarterback position, but you can definitely see that there are two quarterbacks who I kind of drift to when it comes to my backup QB, because CJ Stroud, Nico Collins' quarterback, is somebody who I have a bunch of exposure to. But the funny thing is that I don't even remotely consider him a QB1. But if I'm doing a best ball draft and I'm doing a 3 QB build, if I'm getting like CJ Stroud as my QB3, possibly even QB2, depending on how much I really want to wait, I'm okay with it. I'm definitely okay with it. And that's for a number of reasons. Number one, I think that Nick Caley finally settled in on a base offense, which is something that he needed to do. I think there's a supportive enough ground game. I think that the offensive line should be able to improve a little bit and give that protection. I mean, CJ Stroud, he's definitely somebody who can improve steadily. He's got a great pedigree, and he's got fantastic weapons. I love Jaden Higgins over there. I obviously love Nico Collins. So, and then I can take a page out of a recommended strategy from Joe Jacoby, who won this last year, getting a piece of that last Monday Night Football game on in Week 17. Having a slice of that, because if push comes to shove and it comes down to that last game, and anything could happen in there, well, I'll do it. I mean, listen, it would be CJ Stroud on the road in Green Bay in January. That definitely does not really bode well for him, right? Because we know that Stroud has always done better at home than he does on the road. He does better in a climate-controlled environment than he does in the outdoors. So Lambeau Field in early January is definitely going to be unforgiving. But again, you just never know. You just never know. All right, DT says that he's just dogging Fozzie. I listen. You know what? Vegas. Who here lives in Vegas? Have you guys heard about the National Fantasy Football Draft Day? Big party in Vegas at Circa. It's August 20th through the 22nd. You can get tickets to it at draftnation2026.com. If you use the promo code BUZZ25, you get 25% off. This is going to be a sick event, an absolutely sick event, and it's in Las Vegas. So if you're there in Vegas, around there, or if you want to just bring your league, one of the things that I'm actually doing over there is something called Last Man Drafting, right? The event is encouraging you to bring your leagues there, draft there. Instead of drafting in your garage at home, draft there at Circa in Vegas, Stadium Swim. I know y'all want to see me in a Speedo. I know this. But more importantly, I've already said that if you bring friends of yours, if you use my promo code BUZZ25, guarantees you in a draft with me. What I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to fill a room with multiple drafts and be a competitor in each one of those and go from draft to draft in the same room. All the drafts are going on at the same time, and I'm making my picks and I'm going around the room and I'm doing it like that, like when Bobby Fischer would play like 20 dudes at chess at the same time. That's kind of what I'm hoping for over there. So again, that's draftnation2026.com, promo code BUZZ25, National Fantasy Football Draft Day. That is August 20th through the 22nd. Ooh, I am on the clock. It is cool. It's very cool, Krish. Michelle Beadle is going to be the MC. I know Adrian Peterson is going to be there. I know that there are supposed to be other celebrity guests there. It is supposed to be an amazing time. All right, I'm running out of time and need to make my pick here before I do something stupid. Let's see. Who's available at the running back position? Okay. Who's available at wide receiver? Let me just do it right now. I'm going to grab me some Devontae Smith. There's another guy. I like him a lot. This should be a good situation for him in Philly. I don't love the fact that Jalen Hurts didn't throw last year. I don't like that at all. I'm very curious to see what Sean Mannion brings to the table as an offensive coordinator and how closely he really is keeping Jalen Hurts involved. Because if he's keeping Jalen Hurts involved and the two of them really can come together, there's still plenty of amazing weapons on this team. And for Devontae Smith to be the number one guy, I'm in on it. I'm definitely in on it. So just something to throw around there for him. Anyway, yes. So that's the event in Vegas. If you guys want to come, join me because we'll have an absolute blast. I'm going to be. That's the first time I'm actually coming back to the lower 48. If you guys don't know me, I'm living here in the great state of Alaska, capital of Juneau, right, or capital city of Juneau is where I'm at, and so this is the first time that I'm actually going to get a chance to make it back down there to the lower 48. Super excited about that. I couldn't think of a better possible reason to do it than National Fantasy Football Draft Day. All right, we're cruising through this draft. You guys are keeping a fantastic pace right now. I love this. It's coming back to me. I got my Walker and Genty. I got Collins. I got Smith. That is a fierce foursome. It really is. Now the question is where do I want to go? What direction do I want to take? There's a name that's still sitting on the board that I actually really, really want. And I'm going to make sure that I do it. If he doesn't go before in these next two picks, we'll see what they end up doing here. Terry McLaurin. There you go. That wasn't the guy who I was looking at. Come on, beat me. Come on, beat me. What you got? What you got? Who's it going to be? The suspense is killing me. It's killing me. He's making me sweat. He's trying to get inside my mind, trying to help me out here, huh? No, it's all right. Maybe he's stalling. He wants me to just kind of jibber jabber a little bit more. Let's see. All right, you guys are all hanging out there in the chat. I love this. Oh, look, one of the worst players at RT. How's he was? Oh, Dave Waters. You guys, you know what? I would love to get together with an RT group. I would love to get together with a bunch of with those of you who live on RTSports, right? Play all your games on RTSports. You're watching all these live streams. You all know each other. You're giving each other a bunch of crap all the time. I totally dig that. That's a league that I would love to join or love to just kind of put together. So maybe we do that. Maybe we just do that. Well, I mean, if you guys come to Vegas and you draft me on National Fantasy Football Draft Day, we'll do a specific RTSports league. But all right, I got to make my pick here. Here's the guy who I really love. It pains me to leave Garrett Wilson on the board, but as a Jets fan, I can tell you I have no love for the Jets right now or what they're doing. It's Ladd McConkey. Even in a 10-teamer, I think the 5th round is an excellent value for McConkey. You know, I didn't like him last year. I thought everybody was overvaluing him, and they were taking him in the late 2nd round. And I was like, where is he going to get the targets? The system doesn't dictate that, like, you start force feeding him more and more targets. It just didn't make sense. He was, he had 1,100 yards and like half a dozen touchdowns the year before. I knew you weren't going to improve on that. And what made that so great for McConkey was that he was going in probably like the 7th or 8th round in his rookie season. So he has a great year, and then everybody pushes him up to the 2nd round. And that is and that's problematic. So, but now that he's come back down, I love it because listen, Mike McDaniel and that offensive scheme that he likes to utilize is fantastic. It's fantastic for Omari and Hampton, and it's fantastic for Ladd McConkey. It's always good for that top-rated wide receiver and or tight end. And he likes to play a lot of 2 receiver sets because he's going to use either a fullback in the back in the backfield, or he's going to use a second tight end. Hence why they signed Charlie Kolar. You've got Gadsden, you've got Njoku, but Charlie Kolar is a better blocking tight end. So you've got him. So I think it's Ingold is the fullback. Kolar is the blocking tight end. You're not leaving yourself a whole lot of room for multi-receiver sets. You're looking at a 2-receiver set here. Ladd McConkey's not going to be the guy to come off the board, off the field. You're not going to see him competing for targets with or competing for snaps with Quentin Johnston and Trey Harris. He plays that role. He plays a fantastic slot flanker role, and we're going to see that a lot from him. And I think it's a great spot to be. Again, people forget Mike McDaniel had Tua leading the league in passing yards. Who's going to benefit from that? It's going to be McConkey. But so now here we go. I'm looking through here. I see some running backs coming off the board. I like the Bucky Irving pick, Quinshad Judkins. Now the question is which way or who's going to be available by the time that I come back. Now remember, guys, this league is tight end premium. So as we see both Bowers and McBride, here's the funny thing. I did a deep dive into some tight end points, fantasy points, not in tight end premium, because obviously tight end premium becomes a different story. We were discussing the value of taking a tight end in the second round. Like last year, you had a significant advantage if you had Trey McBride last year. Trey McBride finishes tight end 1. He had 313 fantasy points in just normal PPR, right? He had over 100 points more than the next tight end. That was like when Kelsey was going in the first round and he had, more than 100 points than the next tight end. What we saw 2 years ago, Brock Bowers and Trey McBride, they both had roughly about somewhere between 250, 260 fantasy points in a PPR format. They didn't really give you that kind of value to take a tight end that early in a single tight end league with regular scoring. Again, tight end premium, significantly different for guys who are seeing the targets. That's what it's all about. It's about the guys who are actually seeing the targets and whether or not that's worthwhile. So, but in a single tight end, regular scoring, it just doesn't make sense to do it. When you think about the fact that, that tight end, if he's not outscoring, I think the difference between tight end 2 and tight end 12 last year was like 36 points. Sure, every point counts when you're talking about a big tournament like this, but when you're talking about like season long, is 36 points between tight end 2 and tight end 12 really that significant? I definitely don't think so. All right, my pick. Gotta look over here. Eyeballing some running back situations. I do need another running back here. I don't really like anybody who's there, right? And I've got Nico Collins. I don't really want to overload here with David Montgomery. Do I turn and I look at the quarterback position? Perhaps I do. And maybe that's what I do right here, and I take Drake May. By the way, Jan, taking Kyle Pitts right in front of me, that was a dirty, punk-ass move. Dirty, filthy, punk-ass move. I was looking at him. I was looking at Kyle Pitts. That was another part of the discussion today was whether or not we thought that that Kyle Pitts deserved to be in the top tier among tight ends this year. You've got McBride, Bowers, Loveland, Warren. I think Kyle Pitts is worthy of that 5th spot. Technically you don't need to take him early because everybody goes after like Harold Fannin and Tucker Kraft beforehand. But I do. I'm a big fan of Kyle Pitts. But anyway, you took him off the board. I hate you for it, Jan. I'll probably light you up on Twitter and like a DM. And I'll say mean things to you and about you. And maybe you'll have a laugh at it. Maybe you won't. But I figure, okay, I don't really like I don't need to grab more wide receivers right now. Better off taking, one of the top QBs who I like. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, 1 and 2 for me. Drake May is number 3 for me. I mean, it doesn't irrelevant whether or not you think that the Patriots repeat as, AFC champions. It doesn't matter there. It's about the games that he plays. And I don't think that like all of a sudden he's going to turn into a bad QB. So just something throwing down there. Wanted to make that happen. Boy, I tell you, man, that Kyle Pitts move really, really steaming my clams, buddy. Really steaming my clams. I don't even know where to go. I don't even know where to go right now. I could go to the tight end position. I don't know about Harold Fannin. I really don't. And I don't mind talking about him here because Beat Me's already got two guys there. Todd Monken does utilize his tight ends very well, but there's a reason that the Browns turned around and they drafted both Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston. There's a reason that GM Andrew Berry, after the draft, turned around and said, just so you all know, Jerry Jeudy's targets ain't going anywhere. He's still going to be our top guy. So Harold Fannin is now competing with a pair of rookies here. I don't necessarily know if I really want to invest in that all that much. I really don't. So I might have to just pass on that front and take a look at some running back action. Who do I want to go after? I'll tell you. It's the running back who I have the most exposure to. I gotta have to lay off of him and go to somebody else. You know what I'm gonna try out? I'm gonna try out a little Tony Pollard here. Pollard's a guy who, I mean, listen, over the last 5 weeks of the season, he averaged 100 yards per game. He had 3 games with more than 100 yards on the ground. And then the last 2 games of the season, you could say it's the last games of the season. Nobody gives a crap. There are teams vying for playoff positions. There are teams that are, looking to do some things, auditioning some kids to see what they're like. I look at Tony Pollard as a guy who is, he's aging, but I mean, what are we doing with Tajay Spears? Nick Singleton, okay. Maybe, you draft Singleton, you throwing shit against the wall and see what sticks. I don't know. So yeah, I think it's just something to kind of pay attention to here a little bit. What am I looking for right now? I think I was going back to the comments. Was I going back to the comments? Seeing what y'all are talking about here? I don't think I have where are they in relation to? I found them just so I can post a comment or two saying Jan in his zero RB methodology here, which is exactly what he was doing, starts off with Ramondre Stevenson. I like it. I don't feel the need to go back through all these comments. Sucks at fantasy football. Oh, Dave's probably giving crap here to Fozzie. Oh, you guys are unreal. You guys are relentless. Let's scroll through the comments and see if anybody had anything to say about me doing a RTSports league. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, if you are interested in putting something together, and listen, we can put a little skin in the game on that front as well. I just think that it's it's a community that I dig, and would love to do a league and just kind of learn more about all y'all. Absolutely, that's the weirdest thing. That's why I'm in this business. Like I'm in this business for, the fact that I'm in sports, that I'm in radio, and, these are things that I love to do. But the bottom line is the people that I've met over the years, not just, and I'm not even talking about like industry people. I'm just talking about just people, different walks of life, totally different backgrounds, maybe people who I never would have in a million years met. That's why I liked going to the Fantasy Football Expo. It's tough to to get in and out of Canton now and everything. So, the timing wasn't working for me the last 2 years because I was moving and stuff like that. And I missed the expo. But now it's like, if I've got the option here to go to Las Vegas, which is a lot easier to get to for me, then that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to go there because to me, it's about the interaction. It's about meeting cool people. Yes, it's about competition, and we're going to have some fun. But you know what? My favorite part about talking about fantasy football and fantasy sports in general is talking shit to your buddies. That's fun for me, right? I come from New York, where if you're not giving somebody shit, it means you don't like them, right? That's how a New Yorker shows love. They give you a bunch of crap about stuff. Not a terrible thing. Not a terrible thing at all. All right. I'm going to have to start looking through, seeing where I want to go with some of these next plays. Guys are raiding the tight end position. Look at that. Likely Laporta's gone. I waited too long. I definitely waited too long. I like that Chuba pick. I specifically didn't take Chuba because I have a lot of exposure to Chuba. And I definitely like him. But everybody's just popping off on these tight ends. You know what? I don't know. What does everybody think? Is Travis Kelce just a bust of a pick this year? Is Travis Kelce getting married in Madison Square Garden to Taylor Swift? All these questions need to be answered. In major fashion here, right? Trying to figure it all out. Listen, I'll take, for an 8th round, Travis Kelce. I know that he's not the focal point of that offense anymore, and I definitely don't. But you know what? He's a guy who I'm willing to take in a best ball competition and I'll take other tight ends. I usually build 3 quarterback, 3 tight end, everything else, running back, wide receiver, builds for these best ball drafts. I'll take a guy like Kelce because I expect Kelce to have a couple of really good games. He will. It's just the way it is. He doesn't have the consistency that he used to have. And that's kind of a shame. But if you grab multiple tight ends and you get different guys who pop off on different weeks, well, then you're covered, right? You don't have to have the highest scoring tight end every single time. For me, tight end and tight end premium, it's about the targets. Who's going to see the targets? Who's going to get them, right? And, because really, touchdowns are just fluky. I want guys who are going to be on the field. I want guys who have a high upside. And I've got a couple of other tight ends that are probably a little later on in this draft who I would probably dig maybe even a little bit more than where we're going. How's this moving here? Is this broadcast? Is this live? Nah, there we go. You guys are... Oh, I don't have that live. There, now it's live. Good job, Bender. Now we're all at the same pace. Now we're all here. We're all on the same plane. Good job. Good job. So let's take a look at some of these teams, some of these builds right now, and see what we like. We'll start with T-Swerve. Let me get my pick queued up here so that I can do it and I can kind of get through everything right alongside you kids. Right alongside. I think I could go for him next. I think he might be an intriguing option. Very interesting. Very interesting. I think if I know this group well enough, or I know what some of these people do, I might have to take somebody ahead of ADP. Because I feel like you guys have heard me talk about it before. So I'm going to cue this guy up. I'm going to take him deliberately ahead of ADP just to lock him in there and maneuver around the rest of it. You'll see who it's going to be in a few seconds, and then we'll go through everybody's team. But I could start with T-Swerve here while I wait for Beat Me to make his pick. There he goes. Oh. Beat Me, that was my guy. That was my guy. Oh, that's just dirty pool, my friend. That is just filthy, filthy move there. That's what I get for being like, I'm just going to take him ahead of ADP, blah, 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 blah. Damn. That, my friend, was a dirty, dirty move. I won't dwell on it. I'll get back to T Swerve's team. I love the hero RB. All right. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jeremiah Love, Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery. You're loaded up on running backs. You're perfectly fine, right? I mean, to have that, Jahmyr Gibbs likely in your RB1 slot the entire year, and then just see the way the rest of these guys go. We'll see what happens with Jeremiah Love. The path to being a bell cow back is certainly there. Does he split? Does he share the workload early on this season? Probably. He's a rookie. You need to make sure that, I mean, is his pass blocking up to snuff? Everything that you need to watch. Josh Jacobs, yeah, sure, there's, a lot of tread taken off those tires. Yeah, but dude's out there. And he's young enough, baby, that I'm not sitting here freaking out about his age. DeAndre Swift, he'll share work with Monangai, but still going to be that lead back in Ben Johnson's scheme. And then David Montgomery, who's going to be the lead back in Houston. And we'll see what happens there. So I love the hero RB, and you do it with Trey McBride, who, again, last year, Trey McBride was an ultimate just difference maker. He really was. Do I have any kind of concerns of whether or not this offensive scheme will be different and he'll lose targets? Yeah, there is a little bit of fear there, but not enough to just kind of pass him over, right? And you could have just said that Trey McBride was your third-round pick. Jeremiah Love was your second-round pick. So I like that. We like Ibuka. Alec Pierce, we'll have to see what happens with him. Maybe make sure his ankle is up to snuff. But I mean, again, he's going to be the X receiver in that offense. So he should be okay. I'm not going to say that I'm like, Alec Pierce to the moon, but he should be okay. I don't want to hate on him. And Marvin Harrison Jr., we heard Mike LaFleur turn around and say that Marvin Harrison Jr. was going to be the he was going to play the Davante Adams role, the big split end role. So if he does that, we're kind of looking at some good red zone targets, nice red zone work for him. He'll still be a featured asset there, So I like the move here. I like this because T-Swerve, you're going to be able to take a bunch of wide receivers and see what sticks. You're loaded up at RB. You're absolutely loaded up at RB. You're in a great spot right now. Eric Miller, again, loaded up at RB, nice and early there. Throw down 3 rock-solid wide receivers. Love that. And the move with Joe Burrow. Couple of wide receivers there. It's kind of funny. Do we feel good with 3 locked-in running backs? How many running backs do you guys usually like to lock in when you're talking about building like a best ball format? You have to start 2. So, typically I like to, throw a little bit more against the wall. I like getting them earlier. I don't know why I'm like, in this realm here, because I think you're getting more value out of like a Nico Collins and a Devontae Smith than I really do think that I would be getting out of a Bucky Irving or even a Cam Scatterbo for that matter. So that's kind of, where it is. It's really kind of funny. We talk about, the different trends from year to year. And one of the things that, we're obviously seeing pushed a lot more here in season long is the, is the heavy running back agenda, because that's what's won the last couple of seasons, right? Last year, I won a buttload of leagues with Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey, and people were letting me grab them together at the back end of a draft. Kind of like this year when I was doing like Ashton Genty and Omarion Hampton. Kind of like over here that Fozzie did with Jonathan Taylor and James Cook, right? So there is a heavier running back agenda, and it obviously gives you more value with wide receivers in the end. But, again, I look at the running back situation. I mean, you guys look at who the running backs are left on the board right now. It's not good, right? J.K. Dobbins, Jordan Mason, Rachaad White, Corey Krosky Merritt, Woody Marks, Tajay Spears. These are the names of the guys who are left. That ain't great. That ain't great by any stretch of the imagination. Jan takes J.K. Dobbins, which great, that's fine. I was actually more into taking Jordan Mason with my pick. Why not J.K. Dobbins? I just don't trust Sean Payton. I really don't trust what's going on over there, right? I mean, you've got J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. You've got Jaleel McLaughlin still there. Tyler Bidet is still there. They go out and they draft Jonah Coleman. I mean, there's a lot of running backs in that room, and I am not digging on it all that much. I really am not. So, anywho, where are we at right now? We're in round 10. Just building off a bench now. All my guys are locked in with good starting spots. I can start looking for some depth, looking for some value, see where I'm going to go. Do I want to continue to just kind of pound running backs and wide receivers? Do I want to, try dipping my toe into the backup QB, backup tight end pool at this point? It's probably a good spot to do some of it. Oh, look at that. There's backup QB right there, Matthew Stafford from Eric Miller. So we shall see. Where am I looking at here? Well, I tell you. Too early for Chig. I'll tell you what. I love that comment there, pull in front. Great to see you again here. Chig Okonkwo is a very, very interesting situation here. I'm 100% in if Washington doesn't sign anybody. I'll tell you what, if Washington signs Diggs or trades for Ayuk, I'm probably not going to be all that bullish on Chig Okonkwo. If they bring in like Deebo Samuel, right? If they bring him back, I'm okay with that. Right? I don't think I'm still in on Chig Okonkwo. But, if they don't sign anybody, I'm probably going to have a pretty unhealthy share of him. I'm just saying. All right. So we're coming back around here to round 11, and then I'm going to start going through teams again, like I keep saying that I'm going to. I get distracted by the comments, see all sorts of good stuff there. Jake Ferguson comes off the board. What are we looking at? I shouldn't say a damn word until Beat Me is done taking his player. Rashad White he takes. Good. I'm glad you took him. Eat that. Where do I want to go? I feel good over at running back with the solid 4 right there. I don't really love what else is out there right now. So I can definitely pass on that. At the wide receiver position, I don't really love a lot of – ooh, wow. He's still there, huh? I might have to do that, considering I've been talking about taking my favorites this whole time. Still available here in round 11. Happy to take some Josh Downs. He's going to be that receiver opposite Alec Pierce. He is going to be that slot flanker guy. He's going to run on the outside. When they move to a 3-receiver set, he'll go to the slot. Nick Westbrook-Akine will take over on the outside. You guys know I've liked Josh Downs, so pretty fine taking him over here. Back to Eric Miller's team. Great base at running back. Big hits here at wide receiver. I'm fine with these guys. I love the value I get. I love the value of getting a guy like Jaden Reed and Cortland Sutton there in rounds 8 and 9. I mean, we are all assuming that Jalen Waddle is going to dominate targets in this new offense that Davis Webb is going to be running over there in Denver. But are we really that sure? Cortland Sutton, ex-receiver. Sean Payton usually likes seeing his ex-receiver fed targets. It's one of the reasons why I liked him when it was like Joe Lombardi and Sean Payton again in Denver. So I like the value that you're getting on there. And then you got your quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford. Jake Ferguson's your first tight end. I'm not a huge Ferg guy. because he, when he pops up, he needs either Pickens or Lamb to get hurt to really pop off like where you want him to be. I guess round 11 is not the worst thing in the world, so I'm not really, I'm not really against that. Yeah, I don't love him. I don't hate him. He's just a non-entity for me. Beat me, your team. Let's see. Jamar Chase, Brock Bowers, A.J. Brown. All right, so wide receiver-wise, you're well set, right? Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, love them. Watson, they paid him, so he better do something. I'm a little worried about Parker Washington possibly being that odd man out, depending on how Brian Thomas Jr. does, as the X receiver in that situation. But just remember, Liam Cohen, he loves his multi-tight end sets. They drafted 2 tight ends, one of which was a blocking tight end. They signed Brenton Strange to an extension. Now Trevor Lawrence is saying that he's got this great, this rekindled bromance with Brian Thomas Jr. So if you're talking about multi-tight end sets from Liam Cohen, you're also talking about 2 receiver sets. And that means that Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr., are they coming off the field, or is Parker Washington possibly going to come off the field? That's something that we need to kind of pay attention to. As far as your running backs go, listen, Kenneth Gainwell, you sniped him from me. I hate you for it. Rachaad White, going to get some work in that Washington offense for sure. Scatterbo, we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, listen, I love the way he plays. Not from an injury standpoint, but just the fact that there's so much reckless abandonment. I'm okay with that. Travis Etienne. Am I putting enough Cajun on that? Etienne. He actually concerns me. And it's not because of him. It's just because of Kellen Moore. And it's because Alvin Kamara is still there. And there's no talk of releasing Kamara, right? There's no talk of releasing him. He's still there. You've got Devin Neal. You've got Audric Estime. Those are some decent short yardage guys. Kellen Moore loves a power back. Kellen Moore loves that very much. Loves the north-south running. Happy to take it to the outside as well, but he wants to lead with a power run and have that set up the passing and the play action downfield. That's the style of play that Kellen Moore likes. He doesn't like to throw to his running backs. And if you tell me I'm crazy on that one, and Etienne is going to, if you think Etienne's going to end up with like a big uptick in passes to the running, in receptions, you are mistaken. And I've talked about this with Kellen Moore for years. All right. When he was with Dallas, what was everybody bitching about with Tony Pollard? He's not in the passing game enough. He's not in the passing game enough. Right. Then he goes to the Chargers. And everybody's telling me how much of an idiot I am because I didn't rank Austin Eckler in the top 5 of my running backs that year. He was coming off of a phenomenal season, but Kellen Moore doesn't throw to the running backs. And look what happened. Oh, geez. Even when Kellen Moore went to Philadelphia, he did not pass Saquon Barkley saw the lowest number of targets than he had in the 1 year that he played like 2 games. So if you think that all of a sudden Etienne's going to come in here and get a bunch of passes, you're mistaken. And not to mention the fact that, Kamara's still there. Maybe he sees some passing work. So I don't really know. Is Etienne really built to be a bell cow back, a bruiser between the tackles? I don't think so. My pick, huh? My pick. Where do I want to go here with my pick? I'll tell you exactly where I want to go. I'm going to go with I'm just going to take my next QB, and I'm just going to do it. And I'm just going to take Patrick Mahomes. I love Mahomes. I always have. Mad respect for the job he does. I'm not like Chris Collinsworth. I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to do that. But I'll tell you what, even if they ease Pat Mahomes into the season, right? Let's say Pat Mahomes doesn't become, maybe he doesn't even play the first 4 games. And they say, you know what, we're going to just kind of tough it out here. for the first couple of games without him, and he'll be back after the week 5 bye. Or maybe he comes back and he plays in his first game is in week 4, and then he's got the bye week to get some extra rest. Patrick Mahomes the rest of the way, I definitely want that. I definitely want that. I want to be a part of that. I think everybody should want to be a part of that. Patrick Mahomes is still one of the best. And I'll tell you what, having a guy like Drake May as my top QB in here, and it's a 1 QB scenario, I'm fine. I'm totally fine with that. I think that's a perfectly good move. Ooh, the double dip from T-Swerve on Bo Nix and Kyler Murray. 3 tight ends in a row for Eric Miller, and Chigakonkwo goes to beat me. I'm on the clock. I don't like any of these tight ends who are sitting here. Any of them. But you know what? It is best ball, and I think I can pair up a little Hunter Henry with some Drake May. So I'm okay with that. So, all right. So I just went through Beat Me's team there, right? I got hung up on the Etienne, and maybe he's a little hurt. Maybe his feelings are a little beaten down there, and that's why he decided, well, I'm screw Bender. I'm going to take Chigakonkwo. Is that what's going on? Is that what's happening in these? Let's see. What are these? There's a lot of comments here, some Q&A. How do I rank the Packers wide receivers? Sadly, how do I rank the Packers wide receivers? Oh, here we go. Tim says Etienne will be a beast equals fact. Okay. All right. I think you might be wrong. I'm going to have to, let me make sure. Where is that? I want to post that comment up there so everybody sees it. Tim L 7180. Etienne will be a beast. Listen, I have spent years of being told how wrong I am about a Kellen Moore offense. Years. I'm still here. And I've been right every time. And this isn't some badge of honor to wear. It's just, this is what I do, right? The Fantasy Alarm Draft Guide, we just launched it yesterday. I'm still working on my coaching pieces, and that's going to come out to you guys in mid-July. It's going to, just putting some finishing touches on there. It's a living draft guide, which means that, we just go, we just keep putting content in there, updating all the rankings, everything like that. And I don't remember the point that I was actually just making of it, with the Etienne. I'm perfectly fine with somebody being against me on that opinion. I will say this is one of those things. Like I said, I can always admit when I'm wrong about a guy. Shit, think back. Years ago, I was the biggest Mike Davis champion. Remember when Mike Davis ended up as the Falcons starting running back, or was supposed to? I was the biggest truther there was, and I was dead ass wrong on that one. And we'll always say that, and somebody says, what was your biggest miss? That's probably one of my biggest misses, right? But I dive into all of this stuff, and I study these coaches, and I study what they've been doing for over the years. How long have I been playing fantasy football seriously? Are you saying how long have I played it seriously, or how long have I played it seriously? I've been playing fantasy football for at least 25, 28 years now. Yeah, I think it was early to mid 90s is when I kind of started things off. Yeah, early 90s, I think is what it was. Yeah. Because the first player I ever drafted, I think it was 1992 and 1993. I drafted Emmitt Smith was my first guy that I ever drafted in a player. So yeah, that's how long I've been playing. How long have I been doing this as a job? Well, this is a job I've kind of been doing full time. I've been doing it as a job for about 20 years. I've been doing, the fantasy sports industry stuff, full time. I think that was 20 2015 or 2016. So a little more than 10 years that this has just been my full-time gig. 40 years here. Yeah. That's great. 40 years. I mean, if you're doing that to say that you might know more than me, I don't know about that. But listen, that's always a matter of opinion there. Wait a second. Let me make my pick and we'll get back to this conversation. Where am I gonna go? Who am I gonna take? Who do I love? Here's a guy where you just follow the money. They freaking paid. They paid Jalen Naylor, people. They paid him to be their guy, and they haven't brought anybody else in. Anyway, I don't know, man. Listen, you might be older than me. You probably might be older than me. I don't know. I'm going through these. Let's see. Did you say that? What, as far as being better than me? No, I don't know. But of course I do at 100%. And I don't really know where we are in the conversation anymore. But I will say this. Years of experience in playing is always nice and it's always great. Does it rate as being a better player than somebody or not? No, I don't think so. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I think are a little weird. There's a lot of dick measuring that goes on in the fantasy sports community. And I find that to be incredibly weird. I really do. You've got high stakes people who bash on analysts who may or may not be playing, enough high stakes tournaments for them. I've heard that argument go on before. Listen, just because you're putting more money in doesn't necessarily mean you're a better player. Maybe it means that you have more discretionary income, right? Maybe you're not saddled with debt for a variety of reasons. Maybe. I don't know. But I play enough high stakes and enough high level things that, I don't give a shit about stuff like that, whether you play high stakes or you don't play high stakes. I respect people in the industry who put their balls out on the chopping block for everybody to see. Like, somebody's confident enough in their work that they're saying that these are the calls that they've made. Not, oh, this is I won this tournament or I won that tournament and whatever, because you guys know just as well as I do. It takes a shit ton of luck to win some of these big tournaments. This isn't necessarily like the World Series of Poker where you see the same 10 guys, and girls around the final table. Well, back in the old days of poker. Now it's, it definitely gets randomized a lot more because there's a shit ton of luck that goes on with it, right? We were talking about a league that I'm doing a draft tomorrow called the Independence Day Invitational. Sorry. Time to make a pick. Where's Bender going with his pick? Is this guy even available? He is available. All right. Taking him way ahead of ADP because you suckers kind of always like taking players from me. I'll take Greg Dulcich here. I'll take Dulcich because, again, Miami hasn't brought anybody yet. Anyway, that whole aspect of the conversation of who, all the dick measuring that goes on in here. If you can't admit that there's an enormous amount of luck that goes into this, because listen, I've said this before, between fantasy baseball and fantasy football, all right, it takes skill, intelligence, savvy, determination to win a fantasy baseball league. But you know what? Any mouth-breathing knuckle dragger can sit there and win a fantasy football league because he put he got the right running back off the waiver wire. Like, we've seen shit like that happen. We've seen players pop off when you never in a million years thought they would. People are champions right now because Kyle Pitts had a 3-touchdown game in the playoffs last year. Right? Like, random shit happens. Right? To me, my mad respect goes to people who are willing to sit there. It's not just I won this or I won that. It's things like, I knew Austin Eckler was going to be a bust with Kellen Moore before anybody else even thought about that, right? Anybody who goes out there and puts their take, they want to talk about the fact that they know ball and that they're willing to put their reputation on the line for a call. That's what I respect. You know, somebody having more discretionary income than me, that doesn't mean anything to me, right? I put my heart and my soul into this stuff. Are there some leagues where I've half-assed it? Of course. You know, I play in far too many leagues. So many leagues that I shouldn't. That's another one of those things that, like, you know, people sit there, you know, and they're like, oh, I want to challenge you and I want to be in a league with you and I want to do this and that. For some people, that's like their only Howard takes the same guys no matter what draft position. It depends. It depends on who the guys are. Listen, I'll say this here. That was Timmy's comment here. There are certain guys who I listen, again, I went through my power player thing to see where my exposure was. And my exposure, listen, out of these guys here, the only guys who I have like significant exposure to, Genty, Josh Downs, and Greg Dulcich, maybe. That's probably it. I don't have a lot of shares of Kenneth Walker. Not a lot of shares of Devontae Smith or Ladd McConkey at all. Very little Drake May. So there are some names. Listen, when you're getting down and dirty here inside these last few rounds and you're looking for your guy, there are guys who I really like. And there are guys who I think, you know, we're going to pop off a little bit more than, you know, somebody else. I mean, listen, if I'm looking at tight ends here, and I'm like, who do I want to do? Do I want to take a shot on Eli Stowers, who's playing behind, you know, Dallas Goedert, or do I want to take a shot on Greg Dulcich, who is considered the lead tight end, and there are no wide receivers on that team? No offense, Malik Washington. So, yeah, you know what? Sometimes when I'm back here, the darts that I throw are the darts that I look at and feel the strongest about, right? I'll tell you what, Timmy, I won't take Zachariah Branch. I have a lot of shares of him already. I won't take Zachariah Branch. I'll leave that alone. Maybe I'll find somebody else to pick on. Oh, it's my pick here. It's my pick. Here we go. Where do I want? All right. I need I'll do a 3 QB build here. I'll do something. Let's see. Who don't I have a lot of? Well, down in this bottom here, so it's going to rule out Deshaun Watson for me because I have a bunch of Deshaun Watson. I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm going to take. I have none of this guy right here. Because who knows, people? Kevin Stefanski's offense, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. Who's to say that Tua doesn't hold that job all season long? Who's to say that, you know, Michael Penix is that much better than Tua? You know, and I think that with Tua, I think starts this season. I mean, he's been the number one guy. Penix hasn't been on the field. And I look at it this way, that I've got, you know, Patrick Mahomes in there with the number 5 bye, with the 5th bye week, week 5 bye week. Can't even speak now. With that being the case there, fine. So Mahomes is off for that early week. I'm sure Tua is still the QB right there in week 5 for Atlanta. And then when Mahomes comes back, then it's like, then who cares? The only where, I mean, it could be a concern if Drake May, you know, during Drake May's bye week, if Tua doesn't hold the job all year. So maybe with a last pick, I look at a guy like Michael Penix or a different QB there, a 4th QB. I don't know if I want to do a 4th QB. I don't know if I want to do a 4th one. All right, so I lost track of where we were going with the other conversation there, but I guess it's okay. Yeah. Oh, I was just kind of talking about the whole thing where, you know, there's just too much dick measuring going on in this business. Why can't we all just have some fun? We have our takes. We like who we like. We play the stakes that we like to play the contests that we like to play. Just do it. Do what makes you happy. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with this. All right, now I got to figure out where I'm going to go with this next pick. Where to go? Because there are some not so great names sitting out here. I think, all right, here we go. I'm going to take this guy because this question was asked of me earlier today. What if Jahmyr Gibbs gets hurt? Oh, who's the backup? I don't think Isaiah Pacheco gets a role like David Montgomery had back when Ben Johnson was running this offense. I don't think that's the case. But could he be a complimentary back? Could he be a guy who just kind of spells Gibbs every once in a while? Sure. Maybe there's a game where Detroit is up really big and they just throw Pacheco in there to do some mop-up duty in a best ball contest. Who gives a shit, right? If he pops off for 1 week, given my running back depth, I think we're in a fine spot. I think we're in a very fine spot. But yeah, I mean, listen, that question of what happens if, what if Jahmyr Gibbs gets hurt? Well, then Pacheco all of a sudden here, not such a bad pick in the 17th round. All right, as we're going through it, I'm going to scroll up here. I'm going to start looking at some other teams here, talking about their builds. We'll go to Jan, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Josh Allen, Tedero McMillan, Garrett Wilson, Kyle Pitts. And then, yeah, you did what you needed to do. You hammered the running back position. Ramondre, Chuba. I mean, you've got guys who are leading their backfield here. Rico Dowdle will probably lead that backfield also. J.K. Dobbins. So I like the fact that you did that. I like what you did there. You know, maybe there's another dart throw or two that you can find, but that's what you needed to do. You needed to hammer it out. And look at you with your other quarterbacks too. Your Baker Mayfield and Tyler Shuck. It's a great little tandem there, sitting behind Josh Allen. So yeah, I like that, Jen. I'm very upset about your taking of Kyle Pitts. We'll still have words on that. Chris's team, Puka, Omarion Hampton. You all know I love him. Let me just make sure I'm not creeping up on my pick and missing that. Nakua, Hampton, Olave, Colston Loveland, love him. Zay Flowers, I think a lot of people are sleeping on Zay Flowers this year, which is great, right? Declan Doyle's offense, which pretty much mirrors Ben Johnson's offense, we're going to see some really good stuff there from Zay Flowers because, you know, on the other side, he's going to play that slot flanker role. He's going to move all over the place, and I'll tell you what, he's going to see a good number of targets. I love Mike Evans in San Fran leading the way. Jaylen Warren, poor Jaylen Warren. This guy is just getting ruined each and every year by some other schlub running back that nobody likes. Sorry, I know it's creeping up on my pick. Who am I going to take? Where's it going to be? I do not like it down here. I really don't like it down here. Where are you guys at with Brandon Ayuk? I'm not taking him. I think personally, I think Brandon Ayuk has. Oh, here we go. It's my pick now. Brandon Ayuk has talked his way out of a job. I don't think that's happening for him. I'll tell you what. I'm going to look at Antonio Williams. I'm going to take a little rookie here, and we'll see what happens with Antonio Williams because, again, does Washington need another wide receiver? Maybe. But if they don't take one, that means Antonio Williams is going to be on the field significantly, a significant amount. So I dig that. All right, where were we? We were at Jan's team. Oh, no, we were on Chris's team here. After Jaylen Warren being ruined by Dowdle. I love the likely pick. I think he's going to see a boatload of work. Monongai, Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels in the 10th round. It's crazy, right? It's crazy how the mighty have fallen. We're all in on Jaden Daniels, you know, being the guy. How he falls to the 10th round now, it's crazy. But that's a great trio you got there. Jaden Daniels, Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud. I love that trio of QBs and filling in with some good depth. Chris, you're a seasoned vet, man. It's, no notes. How about that? No notes. A lot of my favorite players there for sure. Neil Heinrich. Let's look at Neil's team. What do we got? Sorry, I know Beat Me's on the clock here right now. It's going to be my turn to make a pick. 2 picks to go. 2 picks to go. Now the question is what direction do we take? I think we know. Oh, the Juwan Jennings pick. I don't dislike that. Tell you what, this one here, I don't know why I didn't take him beforehand. I can't believe he fell back to me. Jerry Jeudy? GM Andrew Berry said Jerry Judy's not going to lose targets. Even Mary Kay Cabot, the beat writer for the Browns, she's like, now saying this is Deshaun Watson's job, and Deshaun Watson and Jerry Jeudy are going to be a nice pair, so. And listen, Mary Kay Cabot is one of the most respected out there. So, Diana Rossini. Somebody had to make the comment, right? Somebody had to do it. Sorry, don't hate on me. No, don't cancel me for making a Diana Rossini joke. All right. I'm on Neil's team. JSN, Chase Brown. Chase Brown is a running back who I don't have enough shares of right now. I will say that. I do like him. Pickens, Kyron, Waddle, Trevion Henderson, upside play here in round 6. I think that's a perfect spot for him, for sure. Darian Price, you're taking a little shot on the rookie. Kittle, he'll be back eventually. Wilson, Harvey, Dak, Darnold, and Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think this is a rock-solid team. The wait on quarterback move, perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. No reason not to. Robert Forbes, Rugby Rob, McCaffrey, Lamb, Burden, DJ Moore. DJ Moore was a guy we were talking about earlier today. It's weird. I don't really have a lot of him. I've got some because I'm still trying. I think that he can be that lead target, that alpha receiver that Josh Allen has needed since he lost Stephon Diggs. I just hope that Joe Brady doesn't stick with this whole, I want all my pass catchers to be these interchangeable cogs in a machine, right? Josh Allen needs the alpha guy in there, right? Stop talking to me about guys like Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakir and Joshua, what's his face? What is why am I blanking on I'm gonna have to look it up now because I'm blanking. Josh Palmer, right? These guys, there's nothing exciting about any of them. Oh, I'm on the clock. Last pick here, kids. Last pick. Where am I going? Oh, Nelly. I don't like any of these guys here. None of them. Let's see. Oh, here's a guy. Oh, I'm going to get auto-picked. I did not. Rashad Bateman. Okay, I'll take him. I've got plenty of exposure to him. He's just like a last-round guy. Why the heck not? All right, back to the teams here. All right. Thank you for the draft, everybody. I'm just gonna run through these last 3 teams here, and then I'll say goodnight to everybody. So draft is over. If you want to stick around and hang out with me for a little bit, come on down and hang out. We're having a good time over here. Back to Robert Forbes' team. We talked about DJ Moore, Bucky Irving. Lamar, I love so much. How is there more than a 2-round differential between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson? I just don't think that should exist. Wandale, I love. DK, I'm worried about. I just don't really like Aaron Rodgers. They brought in Michael Pittman. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure about him there. I love him as a player overall, absolutely. Carnell Tate, I like. Juwan Johnson, I like. I don't love. Jacoby Myers, don't love. Sharbs, we'll see. Krosky Merritt, Xavier Worthy, Dalton Schultz. I mean, yeah, this is again, solid build. Your running backs obviously cause for concern here. Cause for concern. Fozzie. Fozzie. All right, let's take a look at what you got going on here. Taylor and Cook, I love. Rice, Neighbors. The value of Malik Neighbors now here, early 4th round, I'm very much digging it because I said this before. Even if Malik Neighbors misses the first 3 games of the season, right? Even if he misses the first 3 games of the season, you're still getting the production that you're about to get from Malik Neighbors for the last 14 games is going to be ridiculous. So to have that as a discount there in the 4th, I'll take it. I'll take it every time. I like Judkins. I like Tootin. I think both of those guys are in good spots. I love Brian Thomas. I really do. I might be getting a little overexposed to Brian Thomas in some recent drafts, so might have to back off. I really do love him, and I do think that he gets back on pace where he should be. It's one of the reasons why, again, I didn't really like the Parker Washington pick. Harold Fan and Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks, I dare him to get on the field. I dare you. Hurts and Mekhi Lemon. Jackson Dart is in there. Gadsden Njoku. There's nothing I love more than locking down the Chargers tight ends and just making sure that whichever one Mike McDaniel settles on to make this year's Jonnu Smith or this year's George Kittle, I'm 100% for it. Malik Willis, I hate him, Fozzie. It's not that I hate him. He needs to show me that he can pass the football. He's not a good passer. And Kamara's too old. But, Fozzie, I dig you. I respect the job that you do. Same with Timmy, Jefferson, Achan, Javante, I love. Breece Hall, I'm very scared of. Jameson Williams, I'm a little nervous about also. I think I'm on. We'll see. Drew Petzing, he's gone so many years where his top 2 targets are his tight end and 1 receiver. So if that's Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, what happens to Jameson Williams? What happens to him? So, but I like you've got like a little Detroit stack going out here with Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, and Jared Goff. That should be interesting to watch. Tyson, I like. Caleb Williams, I really do like. Winners want the ball in their hands at the end of the game. Addison, Concepcion, Brenton Strange, Jaden Higgins, I love him. And there you go. Again, great job. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out here with me. Really appreciate you guys joining me. Again, give a like to the YouTube page here at RT Sports. And again, do yourselves a favor. If you've never signed up at RT Sports before, take advantage of it here. All the contests they have, they're phenomenal. If you sign up at rtsports.com/Bender and you use the promo code Bender, well, then guess what? You're going to end up getting a 50% deposit on your first deposit, up to $500. That's huge. That's good stuff. You want to be a part of it, no doubt about it. But that's going to do it for me here tonight. Again, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to RT Sports for allowing me the platform. I'm Howard Bender, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.